Well, hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Monica Powell. I'm the Senior Associate Dean here at the Jindal School of Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. And that's the Jindal School directly behind me. We are delighted that our spring 2022 international students have joined us for this registration webinar today, because we are going to tackle all those multitude of questions that you have. Make sure that you have all of the answers and you know exactly how to register yourself for classes for spring 2022. Now, I can't do this by myself. I have some great colleagues with me this morning, and I'm going to pass it off to one of the best, which is Corina Cantua. She's the Director of Advising Operation here at the Jindal School, and she is going to walk us slowly through all of the things that you need to think about and know prior to getting on and attempting to register for spring 2022 classes. So, Corina, you want to take it away?
Definitely. Thank you, Dr. Powell. Welcome, everybody. I'm definitely here, happy to be here along with Dr. Powell to help answer any questions about registration. Before we do that, we are going to cover some topics that are going to be the same, whether it's your first semester registering in coursework, second, third. These are going to be important things that you need to learn that's going to make it a lot easier for you to register. My number one thing for registration, my number one recommendation for registration is preparation. So that's what we want to do starting today. And with that, Norma, can we go ahead and go to the next slide? There we go. So we're going to start with the academic calendar. The academic calendar is going to be available to students every semester. So starting with your first semester with us in spring 22, I apologize. You need to just be ready and comfortable working with the academic calendar, because it's going to have deadlines that are going to be important throughout the semester. The first one is the actual start of registration, and you'll see on there that it says web registration, and it gives a date of October 18th. It is below one of the highlighted dates. Now, October 18th is a date when everybody received what we call an enrollment appointment. It actually is not an enrollment appointment. It's just a date and time that a student is assigned for registration. So please make sure that you take a look at that, because that's going to tell you when you can actually start enrolling in your classes for the spring semester. But then there's a lot of other deadlines and dates that are important that are noted on the academic calendar, including when classes start, right? So that's the first thing we highlighted on here, January 10th. The last day of registration, January 6th, you're not going to be waiting until then to register, right? But just keep that in mind, because that's going to be, it's going to tell you when you can make changes. So if you're still making changes, you have until then to make those changes. And then, you know, you'll notice on the top, it'll say last day of classes, it'll be April 28th. So there's a lot of important dates on this calendar. There's one thing that is not available just yet for the spring semester, but it will be available closer to the start of the semester, and that's the second page of this academic calendar, which is going to have tuition payment deadlines. So that's another thing you want to go back and look at. Make sure every semester that you either print this out, add those important dates to your own calendar on your phone, however you organize your dates for the semester. Make sure that you make the academic calendar's dates part of that. Okay, they will help with planning. All right, now with that, let's go to the next slide. So of course, in order to register in coursework, you need to figure out what classes am I going to take, right? What should I start with? Now, I want to make sure that you understand that the degree requirements for all of your programs, whether ITM, business analytics, marketing, finance, any program, come from the catalog. So it's important that you take a look at the catalog. There's a very easy to use web link right there. It's catalog.utdallas.edu. Go to that, go to Navin Jindal School of Management, pull up your program, start looking at your requirements. It's going to have a section of prerequisites if you have any that are for your program. Many of you are going to have that MAS 6102 professional development that's mentioned here at the very top corner of the slide. So that's something that you're going to have to register in your first semester. Then you'll see your core requirements. Then you'll see electives. There may be some concentration options for you, or it may be a program where you can decide what kind of electives you want to have for your degree. So take a look at those requirements. Now, for all of you, regardless of what program you have, there is a required core, a required overall GPA, and a required degree GPA. And all of them have to be at least a 3.0. So you have to go into this knowing that you have to get certain grades to be able to meet that GPA. If you ever fall below that 3.0, which you won't, right? Because you're going to do very well. There is a possibility that you may be dismissed from your program. So it's very important that when you start tackling these classes, you keep in mind that you have to have that 3.0 GPA. The third item that's mentioned on the slide is a degree plan. So what the degree plan is something that we're actually going to put together within our office. And it's going to be a worksheet that we're going to provide to you that just helps you keep track of your courses. It doesn't give you too much information about what course it is, what it tackles, what they're going to teach within each of the courses. It does not provide you that. That is from the catalog and also from the program. You'll receive that information, but it will help you see, how many core courses have I completed? Do I have any core courses left? Have I completed my electives? Do I have any there that are left? So it just kind of helps you keep track once you start taking your courses, how much you have left to the end to graduation. And I mentioned the program directors, and that's one of the notes on this slide at the very bottom. The programs are going to be the ones to provide you a lot of the details that you need to know regarding what you should be enrolling in. So they're going to start emailing you. They probably already have, started sending you good information about your courses, and then start inviting you to events or webinars that are going to happen even before you arrive, right? They're very much interested in making sure that they provide you the information that you need in order for you to make the correct choices in the courses that you register, not just in your first semester, but throughout your time with us. So make sure that you pay attention to those emails and join them. Become engaged. That's going to be one of the important things of being a School of Management student, is take advantage of the resources that are here for you. All right. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. I'm going to very quickly, we're not going to do this in a lot of detail, but I do want to show you where you're going to start exploring what tiles you're going to start looking at in order to do the registration. So just like with your applicant center, you're going to go into the Orion, we call it Orion Student Center. You've probably been using the Orion Applicant Center. Now that you're a current student, you're just going to change that to Orion Student Center. You can access it the same way. If you go to the main UTD page, it's going to be on the top right hand under resources. There's going to be a Galaxy login. You're going to use your net ID and password, same that you've been using for your application. And then on the note on here, if you have any trouble with trying to log into your account, make sure that you do reach out to the OIT help desk. There's a little link on the left-hand side of the slide, but you can also search for them. It's OIT help desk. They'll be the ones to troubleshoot any problems you're having with logging into your account. But it's going to be the same net ID and password, so it should not be too much of a hassle. So then let's go to the next slide. Once you log into your Orion Student Center, again, make sure that you select Student Center. You may see your Applicant Center, so make sure that you make that change over to Student Center. So it's going to look like this. You probably are familiar with setup like this because you had this for your application. You're going to have tiles of different things, of different information. All right, I'm not going to cover all the tiles, but I'm going to cover two which are very important in the registration process. The first one is the tasks tile, so that will be shown on the next slide. So every semester, this tasks tile is going to show you if you have any holds or any activity that you're required to complete before you actually can register in your courses. This is a way that the university has to be able to communicate to you if anything's missing. Also, if there's like a library fine or anything like that that comes up that you need to make sure that you take care of. I do want to mention that for this semester, we are going to push back your holds so that you actually can register without before taking care of items like submitting official transcripts, completing your TB test requirement, things like that. They're still going to be required, and when you come to campus, you're still going to have to follow through and make sure that you complete them. But for your first semester registration, the university is going to support you as a new student by pushing those holds back and allowing you to register along with everybody else who's registering in November. Okay, so just be mindful of that. You may still see some holds on your accounts right there right now, but they will be pushed back so that you can then start the registration process. All right. Now the next slide is going to show the important tile for actual registration. So manage my classes. Manage my classes is going to be a popular tile for you to go into and choose your courses, add them to what's called your shopping cart, and then follow through with actually enrolling in those classes. So you'll see that all that information, all those links on the right-hand side of that, all of those items are what you can do within your Manage My Classes tile. And earlier I mentioned the enrollment appointment. That is going to be one of those things that you can see within your Manage My Classes tile. Again, when you look at that date and time, it actually has a date and time. It is not an actual appointment. You don't have to meet with anybody, but it does designate the day and time when you can actually start registration. So even if you don't have any holds on your account, if that day and time has not arrived, you cannot register. So just be mindful, take a look at that, be prepared. That's another thing. You don't have to wait until that day and time to actually start planning for your courses, start putting them in your shopping cart. Our recommendation is that the schedule is out now. Go ahead and start looking at it now. Start putting things in your shopping cart, start preparing your schedule. Have a backup plan, right? If you have your top 3 classes you know you want to take, make sure you have 1 or 2 that would be your backup, because if once you reach registration, if it doesn't work out like you thought it would, you need to make sure that you have a backup plan. But everything should be ready to go so that by the time you get to that day and time of your enrollment, you just go in and you push register, right? You don't start planning then, you just finalize your registration. That way you don't lose time, you're ready to go, and you get enrolled in the classes that you need. Okay, so all these tiles, I only covered the tasks and then Manage My Classes, but all the other tiles are ready for you as a current student. Please start going through them. Please start getting familiar with how to use them so that you are ready to go. Okay, all right, so now let's go to the next slide. So I have some registration we'll call final thoughts. These are important reminders as a student at the university. I want you to make sure that you know the UTD, the way that we communicate with you is going to be through your UTD email account. Okay, so we are going to, just like as once you started your application, we started sending you information via email. We're going to do the same as a current student, but we're going to do it through your UTD email account. So you have to now become comfortable making sure that you're checking your UTD email account on a constant basis. And then when you email us, now as a current student, you have to do it through your UTD email account. Okay, so just make that the account that you use whenever you have any interaction with the university. Your UTD ID, that's an important ID. We find you using this ID, but it is not something that you want to share with us via email. Okay, so don't put that in an email. Don't put the entire thing. Don't put part of it. Just keep it for yourself. Know that that's your UTD ID. If you need to identify yourself to us, because you're emailing from your UTD email account, a lot of times that's all we need. We would be able to find you. But it is sometimes handy if you can give us your net ID. And the net ID is what you use to log into your account, that 3 letters and then followed by 6 numbers. If you want to provide us that, that is very useful. We are able to locate you as a student with that, and that is something that you can share with us, okay? So not the UTD ID, but you can use your net ID. Now, all the items that I covered, I know that there's more details. You may want to say, well, how do I find the search button on the Manage My Classes? Don't worry, we have put several videos together for you, and you can access them through the advising page. There's a link on this slide, advising registration. Look at those videos. We made them short and sweet so that, you know, if you have just a couple of minutes today, take a look at one, come back tomorrow, take a look at another one. You know, take your time to look at them. They should be very easy to follow, and we hope that you find them very useful as you're prepping for registration. All right, now the next item would be the next slide. Is that if you do have any questions, if you're still confused, you need more information, please feel free to email us. Our email is jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu. It is on this slide. And then also we do have another resource, which is our live chat, which is JSOM Question Desk. And the link is on there, but you can also find it on our webpage. And there's a team of people who are part of the question desk who are ready to answer your question as well. So we are here to help. We have information online. We're at this webinar, but then if you need any additional help, we have additional resources as the slide has. And with that, Dr. Powell, I'm done with the main topic, so we're ready to take questions.
Terrific, Corina. Thank you so much. I think that for international students who are coming from maybe a different academic infrastructure at your own institution, registering for classes at a US-based institution can be a little bit overwhelming. But if you take time and you really study the information that we've given you, you really go out and look at your degree program webpage, look at the curriculum, attend the webinars that your program degree will have. They will talk about these are the core classes, these are the elective classes, these are the tracks within the degree program. They oftentimes involve seniors, your seniors, people that are ahead of you, who will talk about and answer questions that new incoming international students have. So I really encourage you to pay attention to those invitations to degree program webinars that'll happen in the next few weeks, that will also give you an insight to what's the difference between this particular class with R versus that particular class with R. What's the difference between this analytics track that is here and another analytics track in another program? So be very thoughtful, do your homework. You'll save yourself a whole lot of frustration. And as Corina said so artfully, taking a little bit of time inside of the academic catalog is really useful. So you are assigned the catalog associated with your academic year. So for the spring 2022 students that are coming in, that's the academic catalog for fall 21, 22. So you're looking at basically the fall 2021 catalog because that affects you. So you are held to the degree plan that is listed in the catalog under which you enter. So be very careful. Don't go look at another year. You want to look at the fall 21 catalog. Look at the course requirements because they do change from year to year. And you want to make sure that you know what are your core classes, what are the program prerequisites. And also remember, as a new incoming student, we require all of our MS students to take in their first semester, within their first 12 hours, we require that they take MAS 6102. And students agonize over that all the time. Why do I have to take that program prerequisite the very first semester? Students rave about MAS 6102 after they've taken it because they understand why it's so important to take it as a brand new student. In that course, we teach students how to prepare their resume by US standards. We talk about how you job and internship search in the US. We teach you the importance of networking American style. We teach you all about the insights of managing and developing a strong online brand and your LinkedIn profile. All of these things are very important that you learn your first semester before you are eligible to do an internship in the United States. So yes, that is a class you need to sign up for. Get it on your schedule. It's 1 credit hour. It'll either be offered in an 8-week format or in a 16-week format. I'm not sure how it is on the spring calendar, but do sign up for it because if you don't, we'll be after you and making sure that you get signed up for that class. And you want to have it under your belt at the end of that first semester that you are here. So those are some tidbits from the Senior Associate Dean's office. But as always, as entering students, you're really the most important people in our conversations. So I want to pitch to Norma. Norma, I bet we've got some great questions out there, and we want to address all of those today. And then also just a reminder, we're recording again this video. So it's not like you got to remember everything we've said during this live Teams meeting. You'll be able to watch the video again and review that. That will be posted on our YouTube. You will get an email that will have the video link in it. So you have lots of resources at your fingertips. So Norma, what are the questions we have today?
So the first one is, what's the minimum number of classes I can take in a semester? What's the maximum? And I thought you could also just kind of talk about what our typical F1 international student takes for their course load.
Wow, great question. So typically international students are required to be enrolled in 9 semester credit hours. But for all of you, that minimum will be 10 because you will sign up for three credit hour classes and 1 credit hour of professional development. Now, students will often get very ambitious, and we caution students who get a little too ambitious. I mean, technically, when it's all said and done, you can sign up for up to 18, but you do not want to do that. The full-time load for a graduate student in the Gendall School is 9 credit hours. So you are going to want to be in the 9 to 12. Now, if you sign up for 10, that means you might end up with 13. And there are some advantages to completing 4 courses, 4 academic degree plan courses in your first semester, plus the professional development credit hour. You get a little bit ahead, but you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Because if you do, that becomes very stressful. Kind of goes back to what Corina was talking about with regard to grade performance. You want to complete every semester with a GPA of a 3.0 or higher. If you don't, you find yourself on probation. And that is an uncomfortable place to be because it causes a lot more stress. So I would say the 9+1 for the professional development credit, maybe 12+1 if you want to take on that 4th course, but just be very thoughtful about doing that before you do it.
We've had a couple people ask about graduate certificates, and the example they give are business intelligence and data mining, and they are wondering how they can be eligible for the certificate. How do they register for it?
Wow, what a great question. So certificates are becoming really important for students in the job market because a certificate shows that they have specific expertise in a very narrow place on a specific tool or a specific topic. So if you want to obtain a certificate, you have to apply for the certificate. It is an application. So you would want to get out there, apply for it. And it goes through an admissions process. If you've been admitted, there's every likelihood you'll be admitted to the certificate as well. The really good thing about the variety of certificates that are out there that are related to IS programs and even other programs are that those same certificate classes can count toward your degree as well. So it's not a bad idea in the first couple of semesters to maybe tackle a certificate. It's another thing to add to your resume that demonstrates to an internship employer that you're bringing a specific high-level talent to the table that their company will benefit from. But you have to apply. Now, you could take courses toward a certificate and apply after you get here. But you don't want to wait until you're at the end of your program and then try to apply for a certificate, because that will get you in trouble. You will be too late to the game. So you want to apply for that certificate as early as possible. You don't have to apply before you get here, but I would definitely apply next semester when you arrive.
So we've had somebody mention that they've looked up some courses and some of them say TBA, and they're wondering when that information will be finalized.
So Corina, you want to tackle that one?
Yes. So the TBA may be those courses that are online. So take a look at the section. It would be OW, OW1, OW2. Those are online courses. They usually will have TBA, and that's not going to change because there's no meeting day assigned to them and no meeting room. So the TBA kind of shows up for those. So if you're seeing it there, which is, I can't think of another place where you may be seeing that. So just take a look at the section and you'll see that it is online. Make sure that you can take at least one online class, but you have to make sure that you're taking your in-person classes, which would be the other section numbers.
Yes, as international students, you're limited to one online class. So let's talk just a moment, because I think it sometimes confuses an international student. So we have course prefixes. So you might see a course prefix that says BUAN. That's a business analytics class. You might see one that says MKTG, and that's going to be a marketing class. So that stands for the discipline. And then there is a course number, which would be like 6301. So 6,000 is graduate master's level courses, the 6 is. The second digit in 6301 is the number of credit hours that the course is. So almost all, every single one of our courses are 3 credit hours. except for professional development and except for an independent study or a course that has a V right after the first digit. That means it's a variable course and you're taking it for a variable for either 1, 2, or 3 credit hours. And then the last 3 digits that come after the course number. So if you have BUAN 6326-001, 001 is the section number. And that typically is going to be associated with what time of day that course might be offered, but not always. Like 501s are generally at night. But if you have an OW, that means it is an online class. And that is where Corina is referring that TBA might be there, because an online class, an OW class, doesn't have a meeting time. It is completely asynchronous, which means you log on to our e-learning system, you're watching course videos, you might interact with the professor in office hours, you might interact with classmates on group projects, but there is not a meeting place and time for that OW class. All other classes, you'll see an actual Wednesday at 6:30 or Tuesday at 10 o'clock or that kind of thing. So you'll see that in the course schedule.
We've had a couple of our attendees ask about when they'll be getting a scholarship decision.
So the latest scholarship decisions will be coming out will be at the end of the first week of December. The scholarship committee has met and there have been some awards that have been given, and we're going to continue to look at that as we move through the next 3 or 4 weeks. Generally, scholarships are limited in the spring because we give a lot of scholarships in the fall. But the latest they will come out is December, into the first week of December.
Regarding tuition, do you pay fees and tuition per semester or for the entire year?
No, you pay it per semester. Corina, I believe you mentioned at the very front of this deck, and Norma might go back and put this picture of our academic calendar back up, because the academic calendar is your lifeblood every single semester. There's one of these posted for every semester that you are here. They're generally posted early, so you can see what next summer looks like before you get there. But this is your lifeblood. It tells you everything about that semester, and you should print it out every semester and post it on the wall next to your screen, because it tells you when things like registration open. It tells you when drop ad opens and when drop ad closes. It tells you when tuition is due. It tells you all kinds of important dates that as a student you are held responsible for. We're a big school. We can't, track down every student and make sure that they know all these dates. You are required and obligated to know these dates. So go out there. You can always find the academic calendar on the UT Dallas homepage. Look under, I'm trying to remember, we did our homepage. Resources, and you'll see academic calendar. Go there, print it out before every semester starts, because that's going to be a very important guide to you. One of the things that I absolutely hate every semester is when a student didn't listen, they didn't print the academic calendar, they missed paying their tuition because they didn't know the date, and then they got dropped from all of their classes. Then they have to pay a reinstatement fee to get back in classes, but once you've been dropped, you're not guaranteed getting the original course schedule back, and then we've got an unhappy student on our hands. So you really want to be very conscientious. Print this out and it will give you everything that you need to know. So to answer that question, you pay tuition by the semester tuition deadline date. Wow, that was a really long answer to a pretty simple question.
Does everyone's enrollment appointment start at the same time?
No, it does not. So, Corina, why don't you tell them how that works?
Sure. So the enrollment appointments are assigned to each individual student. So you won't find somebody who has the same one as you. The way they're assigned is that students who are closer to graduation based on credit hours are the ones who are going to have the earlier registration dates. And that's to make sure that they are able to choose the classes that they need for graduation, right? And then it goes just down the line. So as new students, you will have an enrollment appointment that's closer to the end or the beginning of the second week in November. that's when you would be able to enroll. But just so that you know, a lot of the classes that you take as a new student have already been completed by previous students. So you'll find that when it's your time to register, the classes that you need as a first semester student are still going to be available. But yeah, they're assigned the students who are closer to graduation, and when you are closer to graduation, you'll be closer to the beginning of when students can start enrolling.
The next question is related to an earlier question, but this one asks about when all the professors will be announced.
So that changes. You'll see some professor names in the schedule, and then you'll also see staff, which means we haven't assigned a particular professor to the schedule yet. All of those, students often, talk to students who've come before, and that, earlier senior student reveres Professor X, and they tell you, you got to take Professor X. But I will tell you, because I look at all of the data at the end of every semester for all of our graduating students, the number one thing that our students rave about is all of our faculty. So don't get hung up on needing Professor X because somebody told you have to take Professor X. All of the professors will be terrific, and you'll have a really good experience with them. So don't be afraid of the word staff. That just shows that we haven't yet assigned a particular professor. And that could happen at any time. It might wait until the first week before classes start before an actual name is assigned. We try to get them all assigned as soon as possible, and they definitely more are assigned as you get closer. And actually right now for spring, there aren't that many staff out there, so you won't see that many.
We've had a couple of our attendees ask about that TB test hold because they're saying the TB test needs to be done in the US, and they're wondering if they can register before that TB test hold, or if they can register before that official documents hold is taken care of.
So that is a great question. And the answer to both of those questions is yes. They are going to be pushing out the TB test hold, which means you'll be able to register. They may not do it like today, but between now and the time you can register, those holds will be pushed out to a date that is shortly after you arrive. But let me just sort of really push this right here. If they push it out to January the 6th, you better get it by January the 6th or they will cancel your registration. So yes, you will be able to register with that hold. You will also be able to register with the document hold because they will also push out the document hold as well. Generally, that document hold will be a little bit later in the spring semester. Isn't that right, Corina?
Yes, that's right, Dr. Powell.
So yes, you will be able to register. Should you have a difficulty in registering, those email addresses that you see on the screen right now will be able to help you and look into. Every once in a while, we'll get a student for some reason whose hold wasn't pushed out, but we'll help you make that happen. And you can always email health, HEALTH, CEN, that stands for Health Center, at utdallas.edu and say my hold has not been pushed out, and you can do that as well.
We've had a couple people ask about the catalog, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the catalog. But they're asking that it doesn't say 2022 catalog, so they're wondering which one they're supposed to follow.
You are looking at the fall 21 catalog. So there is one catalog that is approved for every academic year. So that academic year always begins in the fall. So fall 21, spring 22, summer 22. Anybody entering in those 3 semesters uses the fall 2021 catalog. There is not a spring 2022.
Yeah,
we
so
only have catalogs for fall.
Go ahead, Norma.
So they would go ahead and click on this 2021 graduate catalog when they go to the catalog page?
That is correct.
And just to clarify, they can search by school for their graduate program?
Correct.
So they could look at their individual specific programs there.
Norma,
and just
thank you so much for showing people that, because it does look a little intimidating.
It does, and I was just going to point out, if you scroll up, Norma, that's where the 22 comes into play. The official name of the catalog is 21-22 because it extends from fall 21, spring 22, and summer 22. So all those semesters are part of this catalog. So there is a range, but Dr. Powell is right. It begins with the fall 21. So that's why when you click on it, it's going to say 2021, and that's your catalog when you're starting in the spring semester of 22.
Yeah, we in the academic world operate by academic year and not calendar year.
So the next question is, as a first semester student, do we need to make an appointment with the advisor to get enrolled? If yes, how do we schedule an appointment? But also, how do we choose our first semester classes?
Whoa, I am so glad somebody asked that question, because it says that you're supposed to do an appointment with an academic advisor. You kind of get that message, but you don't need to do that. What you need to do is go and look at your program degree page. You need to go and attend a webinar that your degree program will have. If you don't see one or you don't know about a date for one, reach out to your program director. As an admitted student, you will know who that is, and we are glad to tell you who that is if you don't know. They will give you specific advice about what kinds of courses you should be enrolled in. It really depends upon your degree program. There are some degree programs where you need to take the core classes early. So I want to talk a little bit about core and elective. Degree programs have core required classes, and then they have elective classes that are often connected to a track or a concentration. In some degree programs, the core classes are a prerequisite for other courses, so you want to take those early. In other degree programs, like ITM, Information Technology Management, you can take the core at any time. So you need to look very carefully at your degree program, and you need to see, are these core classes prerequisites for the concentration classes or the elective classes I want to take? Or is one course a prerequisite for another? So you want to be able to look at that. And you can easily figure that out by looking at the catalog. You can easily figure out that by looking at the program page on the Jindal School website for ITM or business analytics or supply chain. But the person that you should go to get clarity is your program. Your degree program will be able to tell you exactly what it is that they recommend. Now, sometimes students want sort of extra guidance about that, but I encourage students, and any of you that may have attended any of our admissions webinars will have heard me say that. You are the pilot of your graduate degree program. And that means that you can't just say, I'm going to go get a degree in ITM and not have done the legwork to understand what kind of job do I want, and how is this degree going to help me get that job. So all of you, as you're getting ready to register for your first semester classes, go out and look at the career options. Go out there and look at job descriptions. Go out there and get a sense of what it means to do an ITM degree with a concentration in cybersecurity or a concentration in analytics. Understand which of those choices you want to make, because you're not going to get a program director to tell you, Gaurav, you should do this one, or Pratik, you should do this one, because it's your choice. It's what it is you want to do for your career. So go out there and figure out, what is my concentration? What is my track going to be? And then go into the catalog, look at those course descriptions, look at the core classes and whether or not you need to take the cores before you can take electives. Do a lot of your own legwork so that when you ask questions, you ask really smart questions. And then the other thing I encourage you to do is that almost all of our degree programs have what they call leadership councils or ambassadors. Those are great assets to connect with those folks and ask them questions. How did you go about deciding your concentration? What have you learned about the differences between this and this? They are awesome resources to help you do that. But start with your degree program. Now, if you have a specific question about the registration process, I am having trouble finding my tile to register, or I have a difficulty, then you want to email JSOM Advising, and they will help you with the technical and mechanical issues around course registration. But when it comes to just understanding, what do I do? You know, how do I get there? How do I figure out what I want to do? Your program is the best asset to help you do that. And they will be conducting webinars in the next few weeks to kind of help you do that. That was another long question. Man, I am full of long answers today.
This next person is asking, do we have a chance to swap classes after January 10th, just in case we say don't want to continue in that class? And if yes, is there any duration as to when we can decide or when we need to swap classes by?
So I'm going to let Corina attack the dates and the timing. But here is one piece of advice that I have for every student. And if you do this, you will save yourself a lot of agony. So shortly after classes start, or right around the time classes start, faculty will post their syllabi. You will get access to a syllabi in that very first class that you attend. The mistake that students make sometimes is they don't read the syllabi for the class very carefully. The syllabi is the contract for the class. It's going to tell you the topics that are covered. It's going to tell you how many exams. It's going to tell you the grading rubrics that the faculty are using. It's going to tell you how your grade is calculated, that this exam is going to be worth this percent and this group project's going to be worth that percent. It's going to give you a lot of information about that course. So I encourage every single student in those first few days of your class to get that syllabus for every course that you registered for. Read it very carefully. If you can't locate the syllabus, it's not in the system, reach out to the professor, say, I need the syllabus, because that will help you. You don't want to just depend on going to that first day of class and hearing what the professor says. Then you say, well, I want to go to the second class and see if I've changed my mind. You want to do your homework so that you can follow the schedule and the deadlines you have for adding and dropping. So now I'm going to pitch it to Corina, and she can talk about those exact dates.
Yes, and I do want to mention, Dr. Powell, there's actually an ability for a student to go into what's called Coursebook, and it's still accessed through our UTD main page, and look at a syllabus from a previous semester.
Oh, great point, Corina.
Right.
Even if that syllabi isn't there for that semester, previous syllabi will be there.
Right. That way they can get an idea of the content of the class even before the semester begins. They don't have to leave their decision of, am I going to stay in this class or not, until that time. But yeah, to go to the dates. So registration, regular registration, I mentioned, ends January 6th. There is registration, but it's late registration happening after that up until January 18th. And you'll see that it'll say late registration and last day to add and swap. So you have until January 18th, but it is considered late. And what that means is that there may be a late fee attached to your registration. So if you do your research ahead of time, take a look at information that's already available to you even before the semester begins, then you're going to minimize how much you have to go back and forth in your classes once the semester started. Because when the semester starts, it starts, right? You hit the ground running. You have to be ready to go with that course. So it really is not a good idea to still be swapping around all your classes during the first week of classes.
The next question, Dr. Powell, has to do with scholarship. This person is saying, let's just say they're not awarded scholarship in spring. How many credits do they need to take in spring so that they can be eligible to apply for scholarship as a current student for fall?
12. What a great question. You must have at least 12 credit hours. For most of you, that would be 13 when you add professional development. So let me speak a minute to scholarships. If a student isn't awarded a scholarship in the spring, you know, we award continuing student scholarships for fall. We award impact student scholarships for fall and donor scholarships for continuing students for fall. You need to go out to our scholarship website, look and understand what that criteria is and how we look at that. Because as it is anywhere, scholarships are competitive. So you want to be competitive for a scholarship. We give away the bulk of our scholarship money in the fall, but we only give continuing student scholarships in the fall. We do not give continuing scholarships in the spring.
So we talked earlier about how many is the minimum maximum to register for spring, but we have somebody or a couple people asking about summer. How many credits can they register for in the summer semester?
Oh, that's another great question, and one thing that students sometimes don't realize. So typically a semester, fall and spring, is 16 weeks, but a summer semester is 11 weeks. So it is a compressed semester. And sometimes students think, oh my gosh, I can get ahead in the summer and I'll take 15 credit hours and it'll give me some kind of edge. That is a huge load to take in an 11-week compressed semester. So, really an appropriate load for a student might be 6 credit hours or 9 maximum. When I've seen students try to take more than that, it is a struggle. It is a lot to carry in an 11-week semester. An international student is not required to be enrolled in the summer. But if you are, you want to be thoughtful about the choices that you make for the courses you enroll in, so that you don't overwhelm yourself with that. I think a lot of students think, oh, it's summer, it's easier, but it can be much more difficult if you bite off more than you can chew.
We've had several of our attendees ask about when they will be eligible for internships.
So it depends upon the degree program in which you are enrolling. We have 5 degree programs that you would do an internship at the end of 18 credit hours. So it is possible that you could take, 10 in the spring and another, 9 in the summer and be eligible for internship in the fall. And that would be business analytics, ITM, management science, marketing, and business analytics. Did I get the 5? I think I got a
Supply chain?
Supply chain. So it's those 5. Thank you. I said business analytics twice. In those, you can do it after 18 hours. For all of our other graduate degree programs, you have to complete 2 long semesters. That means that you won't be eligible for an internship until January of 2023. But for those 5 degree programs, it's after 18 credit hours. So you could technically do it in the fall if you take 10 in the spring and you take 9 in the summer.
We've had a few people ask about, I-20, help with their I-20 or advice on their visa. So I did want to mention that I put the link to the ISSO advising page. I don't know if you could maybe tell them about the different ways they can contact ISSO.
Wow, ISSO holds 3 live webinars a week to address student questions around I-20s, questions about, visa appointments, questions about documents, and anything and everything that you would need relative to securing immigration status to come to the U.S. So if you go to the International Students and Scholars webpage, that's what ISSO stands for, International Students and Scholars Office. Go to one of those webinars, go to more than one of those webinars, and you will get every single question answered in those webinars.
So we had a couple people ask about how many semesters for the entire program, which we know varies per student. So I was hoping you could talk about the typical course duration for the entire program for our average international student.
So to earn a degree, a Master's of Science degree, I'm not talking about the MBA, I'm talking about Master's of Science degree. You have to complete 36 credit hours, but of course you have the 1 credit hour of professional development on top. Most of our students, I would say 95% of our international students do that in 21 months or 2 full years because they want to take advantage of as much opportunity for internship. So if you are in one of those 5 degree programs that require the internship, and I'm going to say them again and not get them wrong, business analytics, ITM, supply chain, management science, and marketing, in those degree programs, you can technically do 4 semesters of internship because you can do the first one for 0 credit and then do a 1-1-1 in subsequent semesters. That can be very useful because that gives you a lot of opportunity to get a lot of practical training through CPT. You sign up for a course in order to do an internship, has to go through the approval process. So those students want to take advantage of that. So a student that comes in let's say this spring in one of those 5 degree programs, they might get their 18 completed by the time they get to the end of summer 2022. Then they can take a 0 in fall of 2022, 1 in spring of 2023, 1 in summer, and 1 in fall. And that gives them a lot of opportunity to get internship experience, plus it gives them a lengthier amount of time to hopefully secure an OPT job. We've had great success here at the Jindal School with our students being able to obtain internships. It's amazing. Even during the pandemic, it was amazing. And you can go out and you can look at a website, and I know Norma's already going to find it, where you can read the internship stories of students, because that's one of the requirements of the internship class that goes along with the internship, where they talk about the great things that they've gotten to do in their internships. And it's pretty amazing. If you are not in one of the degree programs that requires the internship, like international management studies or healthcare leadership and management, one of those, then you'll have 3 credit hours of internship that you can take. And generally those students will also take really 2 full years, or just shy of 2 full years, 21 months to complete the degree. Every once in a while we get a financially minded student who wants to, who comes in saying, man, I'm going to take as many courses as I can a semester, because the more courses you take a semester, the lower cost per credit hour you pay. So there's a little bit of a financial incentive to get it done faster, but they always regret it, because then they've cut off their nose to spite their face, and they've cut off opportunity for internships. So many of our students will take that 21 months, 2 years to complete it, even though they'll get a financial advantage. And speaking of financial advantage, there's a great webinar that is out on our YouTube channel that talks about how our international students approach and look at funding their educations. If you haven't watched that webinar, it's really great. It was a webinar that we did last spring. The content of it is still relevant. You know, students use internships to help offset costs. We have a lot of students that tell us that they're using Prodigy Bank and Empower, and that has been really successful. We have students that get on-campus jobs, and we have students who are very economical about how they live and optimizing their expenses as well. So that's a great webinar to go out and watch.
I've went ahead and put the link to the internship stories as an announcement, so they can click on that. And I will go ahead and share the link also to the financial planning for graduate students webinar that you just mentioned. This next person asked about the professional development course. Is it possible to be waived from that course?
It is possible to be waived, but it is hard to be waived. Because we waive that with regard to experience, work experience in the United States. Because job searching here, resume format here, how you network here is very different than really any other country in the world. So it is not likely that it will get waived unless you meet some very specific criteria.
What is the ideal course selection? All core classes, a mix of core and electives? What would you recommend?
It really depends upon the degree that you're pursuing. So that's a great question for your program director. One thing that I will tell you is that typically employers, when you're looking for internship, they want people that have tools, people that can do things. Often the tools knowledge is in the elective courses, but there's some good core classes and baseline courses that are good too. So that is a great question to ask your program director. Please be mindful and go out to your catalog and see, you know, do you need to take the core up front because those are prerequisites for other elective courses, or are you like an ITM where you can take electives right off the bat? Kind of depends upon which you are. But the other thing I might point out is that all of our degree programs, marketing, supply chain, management science, ITM, business analytics, those for sure have lots of concentrations or tracks where you get to be really nuanced in terms of how you lay out your degree program.
The next question is, when can we apply for graduate assistantships?
You can't, well, you can do it as a brand new incoming student, but I can tell you you're not going to get selected as a brand new incoming student because faculty like to hire students who have done very well in specific courses for which they will be a teaching assistant. So typically after your first semester. And we have an employment website where you can go and apply for those.
The next question is every course that they see for spring, will it be offered again in summer and fall, or how does that work? Are they offered every semester?
So you can look at the catalog. Corina, can you tell them about those course codes where you can tell if a course is offered once a year or when it's offered? Some of our degree programs are large, and in very large programs, there's a lot of choice generally every single semester. But you will want to look at the courses that are in the catalog and look at the codes that are at the bottom of the end of those courses. And Corina, you want to talk about those?
Yes, so at the end of the course description, you'll find these letters that are SYTR, and they kind of just let you know, once you look at in the catalog, you can look for frequency of course offerings, and it will let you know if it's an S, it is taught every long semester, and a long semester is a spring and a fall. Yeah, that's it, Norma, that's a T. A T means a course is offered at least every 2 years. Y is course offered at least once a year. But there is an easier way, I find, to see, when should you expect the course to be available again, and that's through coursebook. So I mentioned that for looking at a syllabus, but you can also take a look at previous semesters and course offerings from previous semesters. So if you're wondering, was this, you already know what's going to be offered in spring 22, but let's say you're trying to think what's going to be offered in fall 22. So you can go into coursebook and pull up fall 21. What is being offered this semester, because the likelihood that it's going to be offered again in the coming fall is good. So that also helps you get an idea of whether or not that's going to be offered. The summer, same thing. If you're looking at summer 22, that's not published yet, but you can take a look at summer 21 and see what courses were offered in the summer. The likelihood that they're going to be offered next summer is good. So that's another way to also get a sense of when would you expect a course to be available in which semester, so that you kind of plan ahead of what you're going to look to take.
Corina, that's a very, very good point, because typically the previous fall's course selection is very similar to the upcoming fall's course selection. So that's a really great way to look at it.
And to just call back to an earlier conversation, if the syllabus isn't posted yet for spring, this is how you can, right here, open up a syllabus from a course from a previous semester.
And generally, that's a really a good gauge of how that course will go in the forthcoming semester.
So we've answered quite a bit of questions, and I know we weren't able to get to everybody's, but they can reach out to us by email or the live chat. So I do want to give you some time for some closing remarks for our incoming students.
Well, thank you, Norma, and thank you to Corina, and Angela is with us also. Angela leads our graduate advisors in the advising office, and she's with us today. You can't help but get to know Angela, and you know her certainly by her vivacious smile that she has. But we really want to thank you guys. We want to thank you for choosing UT Dallas as your destination school. We are so excited about you coming. We are getting over what has been a really difficult global time for everybody around the world, and there is lots and lots of great sunshine on the horizon. And despite the challenges that the pandemic gave us, we've seen our students be incredibly successful in landing great jobs and awesome internships, and our students are so excited to be back here on campus. If you go downstairs, it's just like, I don't know, it's just this amazing energy. But this is a really special place. You will make the best friends for the rest of your life here, and you will feel like, wow, these faculty and the folks here that help me are really invested in me having a great experience. So we can't wait for you to get enrolled. We cannot wait for you to arrive here, and we welcome any and all of your questions. Don't be overwhelmed. I can't even imagine what it would be like to travel halfway or 3/4 of the way or 1/4 of the way around the world, leaving everything that you know and love to come here and have an experience. But we're here to help you. We're here to welcome you, and we're here to help you make this place home. So be in touch with us, and we'll look forward to seeing those course registrations start to happen in the near term. Reach out to your program if they can help you, and reach out to us with those 2 contacts on the screen if you have any additional questions. Thank you to Norma for being our masterful operator behind the scenes. And thanks again to Corina and Angela for joining us today. We hope that you'll be in touch. We'll talk soon. Bye.